Так. Так. Запускаемся, да, все, работаем. Работаем. Сейчас. Что такое? Работает, да, нормально. Все, вроде все заработало. Добрый день. Ох, как же жарко. Надеюсь, у вас не так жарко, как у меня. Я готов начинать. Готовы? Готовы. Вроде все готовы. Вот. Приборы говорят, что вроде все можно начинать. Ирина, наверное, уже пришла. Чуть-чуть потише себе сделаю. Наушнички. Описание на Твиче. Ролевая игра, приключенческая игра, детектив. Интересно. Так, вспомнить бы, что я делал. Мы потусовались здесь. Мы открыли контейнер, мы взяли задачу про...
The crumpled salmon and butter billboard still soaks in the canal, marked by tire tracks.
Мы же вроде об этом обо всем поговорили.
There are two good candidates. You'd have to follow the tracks to
Да,
the shore.
Все.
The lieutenant.
Все тут, все. Так. Что по заданию? Что у нас по заданию? Что у нас по заданиям? Или... Так. Теперь точно все на месте. Все на месте. Так. Шлюз найти на ПДД. Спросить Куна, спросить Гарта. Вайл найти представитель транспортной компании, которая принадлежит порт. Ладно, сейчас поищем. Я с Куна насчет трупа не хочу разговаривать. Я буду разговаривать с ним когда-нибудь потом. Мы идем к Гаррету. Поговорим с Гарретом по поводу вещей мертвого убитого. Может, он что-нибудь там где-нибудь проколется, скажет: ой, я не виноватый. Я ему скажу: тогда прощай мне деньги. И вообще я буду жить здесь бесплатно. Это будет твое сотрудничество со мной, с полицией. В плюс тебе. Не знаю, стоит ли оно того.
Can I help you?
Отдать ключ.
I hope you found what you were looking for.
Я нашел шмотки покойного, чувак.
How strange. I certainly didn't put them there.
Может быть, ты что-то забыл, а?
I think fugue states are more your forte, officer.
Собака. Подкалывает меня, да? Кто из твоих сотрудников мог это сделать?
Sylvie had the keys before I got here, and I can vouch for her. I can vouch for all my staff. None of us would tamper with the crime scene.
Да, конечно, она даже типа это... Чё она там почти что не идет на сотрудничество? Говорю, чё ушла из бара? Она такая: не знаю. Короче, не верю я вам никому.
The trash collection service, CS Municipal. I don't see why they would put anything in the trash, though.
У тебя вообще...
Ah, the elusive CS Municipal. I doubt we'll be able to track down who was sent here last and when. This will have to be one of those little threats that solves itself down the road. Thank you anyway.
Yes.
Как же ты меня бесишь. Я хотел тебя прижучить. Ладно. Прижучить. Сходим в верхнюю часть квартала. Посмотрим, что там есть. Такие 4 зрителя. Ребят, здесь скучнейшего рода стрим. Я сижу и даже не читаю вам. Вы сами будете все читать. Ищите там это... Тут так... Лениво, лампово... С ноткой пренебрежения ко всему этому. Для себя. Стримы для себя. Так, ладно. Поговорить ли с этой девочкой? Угу. Похоже, эротическая литература, но без настоящей эротики. Интересно. Так, отдались. Так, что тут у нас?
Just an ordinary wall.
В смысле? Невозможно. То есть концептуализация, которая у меня 4, да, говорит, что на 3 шанс. Нет, тогда мы ничего трогать не будем. Мусор. Ого. Ну-ка. Ну-ка. Военно-морское пальто. Внушение увеличивается. А мне что дает мой полицейский? Трепет. Полицейская воля. А тут? Внушение. Нет, 2 плюса лучше, чем плюс-минус, так что оставляем. Так, это что такое? Табличка. Жилой комплекс. Северный объезд. Это в табличке. Так, здесь что у нас? Лекарства. Кстати, надо чуть-чуть себя это. Тут какой-то мешок. Что за мешок? Угу. Тут что написано? Угу. Угу. Она стоит больше, чем ты сможешь заработать. Кто вы? Это, мне кажется, да, это... Нет,
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM.
Да, мы пожать руку для приличия.
I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. but I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
There's a trace of irony in his voice. Mischief, even. The lieutenant is hatching some scheme.
Странный. Что это он задумал?
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines group.
Окей.
It's hard to get a read on her precise disposition, but she appears helpful.
Так, что важного надо ее спросить? Похоже, вы богаты, дадите мне денег. А почему бы и нет? Почему бы и нет?
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that easy, is it? Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eyes, bub. A well-kempt, yet tastefully short, bob of dark hair. Despite the first hints of grey, she's elected to keep it au natural, shaped into a permanent wave, late 40s style. While dull orange pearls hang from her earlobes, red from the cold. Her light green eyes scan you, full of knowledge and worry. Wealth and all its possibilities. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that seem to say everything is possible.
Ничего себе.
Within reason.
Ну, понятно.
Now look at you, you misery-clad simian. Barely able to tie your own laces. Your armpits are legs. A scythe of goons precedes you. Your hair sticks to your forehead, and your underwear feels uncomfortable.
Это так смешно и грустно. Это так смешно и грустно. Мозг такой поговорил внутри, и последнее, что он тебе сказал, что ты чмоня. Офигенно.
You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too...
Мне не стыдно.
Oh, but you are. Too ashamed to ask this person for money. Too scared to belittle yourself in her eyes. Those half-precious stones of eau de Nil.
Да отстань ты, не нагнетай. Чего он нагнетает? Чего он нагнетает?
Oh God, the lieutenant is here too. Do not dishonor the force.
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask.
Это типа я про себя пока подумал, типа попросить у нее денег. И теперь я могу, типа, сам с собой пообщался об этом. Блин, и вправду, вот единственное, почему я не хочу просить сейчас денег у нее, хотя нам нужны деньги. Мне. Киму ничего, видимо, не нужно. У него все хорошо. Я не хочу, короче, позорить Кима, потому что, ну, он же со мной, а я тут такой, типа, денег дадите. Ничего по делу, ничего не рассказал. Денег дадите. Давайте поговорим с ней, а потом, может быть, я подумаю. Может, она сама скажет, может, вам нужна какая-то финансовая помощь. Я скажу, ну, ладно, давайте. Будем говорить очевидные вещи. Вы на яхте.
Why, yes I am.
У нее есть имя?
The boat? No. It is called Cordelati 19 because that's the type of sloop it is.
The word "it" feels strange. Such a beautiful boat deserves a proper name.
Это точно. Надо ей сказать об этом.
Okay. How about Cordelati 19? Why?
Чё они такие все унылые?
Because it was manufactured in Revachol East by a company called Elysium, and its hull is 19 paces long.
Как он стремительная форель.
What? I think I'll stick with the factory name, but thank you.
Ладно. Что это за яхта? Какого она? Да, я понимаю.
It's a pleasure craft, a 19 pacer. It also happens to be rated for Category 1 racing. Though these days I mainly use it for business.
19 пейсов звучит так забавно.
My sloop? I like it a lot. It's the eel's hips, baby.
I'm enjoying this part of the interview. It has so little to do with the murder we're investigating.
I really do, the lieutenant thinks. Is she thrown off yet? He's looking at the woman, assessing her.
Сбить ее с толку.
Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
There is a pinch of defensiveness in her voice, but it is playful.
Я же не знал, что я на архипелаге.
Yes, we are. We are on Le Caillou.
Не, совсем тупого я не хочу включать. Не надо ведь. Включать, не включать, совсем тупица. Хочется очки опыта получить случайно, но в то же время хочется быть не тупым копом. Веселым, да, но не тупым. Хотя я же типа не знаю. Нет, я знаю, что... Он не знает, что такое архипелаг. Пофиг.
We are, and the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
Окей.
I haven't seen anyone else drive a souped-up Capri Kenema motor carriage either.
Actually, that motor carriage has been specially issued to serve as a patrol and pursuit vehicle. It's for crossing long distances in the greater Revachol industrial harbor. It's not a toy.
Neither is this. A toy, I mean. It's a machine for crossing long distances in the Bay of Revachol, between the city and the islands.
Ладно, ладно, все, я понял.
She's having a good time arguing against the law. Too good, perhaps.
Да нормально. А у вас есть право?
Officer, I assure you I'm a highly qualified pleasure craft operator.
The crowns of her teeth are porcelain, white as the boat's hull as she smiles. Her nonchalance might be related to something called the Wayfarer Act, a law that says she doesn't need a license. Sly fox, you're not aggressive enough to harass her further on this.
Понятно, у нас на самом деле не нужны никакие права, да? Так. Скажите мне о White Pines. Чем вы занимаетесь?
What we do? I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. It's a giant undertaking. The Pines' core competency is logistics. Container shipping, freight, that sort of thing. See those airships there, blinking? Those are the shipping side of things. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas exploration, offshore platforms.
Сколько у вас денег?
I'm not at liberty to discuss the company balance sheet, but I can tell you that last year, the company booked more than 20 billion real in revenue.
Неплохо.
A billion?
А что такое миллиард?
It's a number, officer. A big one. It's made of 1,000 millions. A million is made of 1,000 thousands.
Ух ты! А я-то думал, у вас побольше денег.
And to think, there are years when the group books losses in the billions. Walpines employ 72,000 people, all of whom have families that depend on their salaries. It is a tremendous responsibility. They started as an exploration and cargo fleet conducting trade between the Samaran and Insulindian Isolas 250 years ago, when pine ships explored the South Seminese and charted Lormantang on behalf of the suzerain. Centuries of care, deliberation, and madness have gone into this endeavor. Vessels pass through the great unrest to re-emerge with apricots in tow. The logic of the system is totalizing. It's taken everything from its employees to build it. You mean aside from being the terminal's legal owners, who are responsible for moving 8% of the world's cargo?
Это что за коммунистические взгляды?
We built this district.
М-м.
All the best parts of it. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, with its bastions, the plazas Meteor and Mosaic, even some of the old street lamps have been put back thanks to the investments from the WP. Before Martinez was swallowed by the industrial harbour, even before it was part of Revachol, long before Terminal B was erected here, the Pines built it as a resort for its Revacholian employees. A company getaway, for a weekend or a summer holiday. Then came the revolution. But that's another matter. I'm here to make sure the Pines can fulfill their responsibilities to the place they built.
With your help, hopefully, says her warm tone.
Что вы можете рассказать о забастовке? Ну, у нас тут вводная большая. Типа, куча инфы. Сейчас водички попью.
Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets.
Ну да.
First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Нет, так я отвечать не буду. Ладно, и как это сделать?
Why? by throwing off half a century of foreign domination under the Coalition. Unfortunately for you, the Coalition also leases you the right to police West Revachol.
Понятно.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Ясно.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike.
Какая ваша роль во всем этом?
I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place.
Понятно.
Now they won't even let me into the harbour. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
Понятно.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
Да уж.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ну ладно, я понимаю. Сверхурочная медстраховка. А что хотят-то они?
There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Что?
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Типа какие-то коммунистические веяния. Так, потом отвечу. Вот, отвечу так.
In its defense, another said, demand democracy. Pretty tame stuff compared to every worker, a member of the board.
Что это вообще значит?
It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision, about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez
Чего?
terminal.
Они что там вообще, что ли?
Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
Да это бред.
They're having a blast. But how can they afford it? After 4 months, my assumption was they would prefer a more practical solution. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
Понятно. Маньяна тот усатенький, который броню искал.
This checks out.
Как все сходится. Это спросить про того прошлого, что случилось с прошлым представителем.
Mr. Clare told him to... How did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see.
Да, не очень.
Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the Union.
Sounds like usual aggressive posturing.
Возможно. Чуваки, которые пытаются пробить блокаду.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the Union refuses to?
Ну да.
If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Позже риторика мне подсказала. Спасибо. Что вы можете сказать об этом морже?
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first.
Да не думаете?
Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar.
Нет, я с ним еще не виделся.
Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over.
Попахивает каким-то обманом.
It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say...
a mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, we are forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Debardeurs Union is...
Ну, я не считаю, что они защищают права рабочих. Ну, вернее, может и защищают, но таким образом это угнетение других, кто не рабочий, и так это не должно работать. Ну, вот это подходит. Банда социалистов. Нет, пиявка, выкачивающая жизнь, вот.
Indeed, and a hungry one. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the leech always hungers.
Это ты права.
I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the Union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Как загадочно. Может быть, ее шантажировали?
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Ну, это мы что, говорили про компанию?
Of course. How else can I help?
Что можете сказать про самосуд?
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Собака у меня нет. У меня нет удостоверения.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi from Precinct 57.
А я что, и фигу покажу сейчас?
And this is my colleague from Precinct 41, Detective Dubois. I'm afraid Harry doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
Oh, and what happened to yours, Detective?
Зачем ты спрашиваешь? Я не хочу рассказывать.
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
Ну ладно, выкрутился типа.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode?
Рассказать ей правду, что со мной было. Сказать ей какую-то чушь. Или просто типа, ну, согласиться. Нет, давайте не будем ее расстраивать.
I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please.
Не дала, да, мне уйти?
Oh dear. I suppose this does explain some of the more curious turns in our conversation.
She must have been suspecting something for a while now.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Ну да, да, выгораживай меня. Ким, зачем тебе это?
Of course, I sympathize. But I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that
Понял.
badge.
Так и думал. Ладно, ладно.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement.
Угу. Еще больше опыта выбить. Ну и как мне с ней договориться?
She's a negotiator. Just float a favor at her. Insinuate.
А, ну да. Да. Прикольно.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something very tangible.
You're in, but expect her to drive a hard bargain.
Например.
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade. This is an open secret in Martinez. The Union controls the terminal, so it goes to reason.
Ага. Что?
They're profiting from this trade.
Угу.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones.
Круто, я теперь еще наркомана буду ловить.
Or you can recover your badge. Though if I may be blunt with you, it sounds like that may be a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Ну, пойдем поговорим с глазу на глаз.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, detective.
А что ты ожидал?
Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchmen.
Я думаю, все нормально.
This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
Ну и
He doesn't
что?
let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
Мне жаль. Жалкий коп говорит, мне жаль. Блин, да мне жаль. Нет, ты что, хочешь отказаться?
No. If there is reasonable suspicion, we must investigate. Otherwise, she could claim we're siding with the Union, or that we are on their take. We'd never hear the end of it. What I propose is, we ask her, then we investigate, briefly. But do not share the outcome of this investigation with her. We tell her it's done, and demand for her information on the lynching.
Ну да, как вариант. Не хочу все ему это говорить. Так, прошу прощения. Все, закончу разговор. Без глупостей. Ай.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Рассказывайте.
It's quite straightforward. Someone is using Terminal B to smuggle raw ingredients from the Samaran Isola into Revachol with the Union's blessing. Wild Pines has suspected it for years.
Ingredients for what?
Meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't make from
Какая
the stuff.
гадость. Сейчас со всем этим нюхающим по лицу настучу.
Yes. After they clear the terminal, we lose track. The actual production is taking place at various sites in and around Jamrock Quarter, north of here.
Wild Pine seems to be well apprised of the local drug trade, man. Do you mean to say the Union also produces the product? Sells drugs, I mean?
We're in logistics. It's our business to know. And no. As far as the company knows, the Union does not produce it. They transport the ingredients for a cut.
Ну ладно, понятно.
Yes, but you won't get anything out of Evrat and the Dockworkers Union. Still, every chain has its weak link.
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach Jamrock, they're distributed to a network of local manufacturers well beyond our grasp. But in transit, they're vulnerable.
Понятно. Неплохо.
How convenient that they're stranded like beached whales at that roundabout.
Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout just now. Interview the drivers who are still hanging about. One of them might be waiting for a crucial shipment. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you.
Понятно.
You'll be indebted to her, in a way. But one step ahead of the Union in another.
Почему вы не сообщили раньше?
We did. On more than one occasion. Apparently, there's some sort of inter-precinct disagreement about whose
Понятно.
jurisdiction this area falls under.
Ясно.
We know the company has launched its own probe into the Union's alleged involvement. We also know it's come up empty. It's not just the RCN. No one's been able to find any hard evidence.
Well, here's your chance, officers.
Получается, что так.
No. We asked East Motor Track to raise the drawbridge. The road company is a partner of one of our subsidiaries. However,
Даже так. То есть мост не просто так с другой стороны там подняли, где я хотел его поднять. Ясно, понятно, все завязано, все связано.
this is a limited time opportunity. Once the complaint has been processed by the Trade Committee, they'll have no choice but to lower the drawbridge, and the operation will continue. Thousands of litres of raw ingredients will pour onto the streets of Revachol. Not the east across the river, but the west. The vulnerable, the weary.
Well, at least this solves one mystery.
What is that, Lieutenant?
Why I had to call East Motor Track and beg them to open a drawbridge for me. I'd wondered since I first drove in. on my motor carriage.
I am sorry for the inconvenience, Lieutenant Kisaragi, but we need them trapped here. This is a unique opportunity. I'm sure you understand.
Да понимаю там.
How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers going strong for the 4th month straight.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike. Many were squeezed to bankruptcy to fund it.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open up to you.
It sounds like she tried looking into it herself, but she's clearly not the type your typical lorryman would confide in.
Ну ладно.
Yes?
Все, задание взято.
It may come to nothing, or it may just blow the case wide open. I can keep the drawbridge up for a few more days at least. You should have the time you need.
Что я пролистнул первый рассказ.
In the meantime, let me know if there's any other way I may be of assistance.
Так, это потом. Это тоже попозже. Я говорил с этим.
You have? And how did you like Mr. Clare?
Мне он не понравился. Жирный социалист-оппортунист, все.
Oh, come on now. He has his uses. How else would he have stayed in power all these years? Or wait, actually... corruption. That's how he's done it. Fantastic. Worm-like corruption. Reaching into the bowels of the earth.
The position of my unusual colleague does not reflect official policy. I hope you understand. The RCM does not pick sides.
Ой, Ким, ты тоже так считаешь?
Of course. And I don't expect you to share anything he told you with me. I'm not a corrupt worm myself. However, if you felt like... How could I stop you? Are we not human? Are we not curious to hear another person's take? It's only natural. We would only be... gossiping.
Intellectually speaking, it would be quite interesting to hear what she has to say about these things. Tell her she'll like you for it.
Ой, ты вообще молчи.
Yes, your disgusting necktie agrees completely. Let's gossip. Про борщ расскажу, про пистолет точно не расскажу.
Did you now? What sort of borscht is he making? The strike brew. That's a classic. And by turn up the heat, I presume you mean put more alcohol in it. Beyond curious. I will choose to interpret that as you turning the alcohol in the strike brew down, for the sake of our professional relationship.
Время
And
так-то
because I
20:00.
don't like the idea of them any more drunk than they already are. What else?
Все, ничего.
Of course, Detective. Should something come up later down the road, don't be afraid to drop by for a chat.
Чувак из ломбарда сказал, заходила женщина. Ну, такая какая-то странная женщина, выкупила пистолет и ушла. Она странная женщина для этих мест. Может, она нервничала. Ну, хотя зачем ей? Но вдруг... Блин, а может быть реально она выкупила пистолет? Но откуда она знала, что я потерял пистолет? Рассказать ей про пистолет или нет? Может, она скажет, что этот пистолет? Я такой, ничего себе. А можете еще денег дать? Про фотографию спрошу.
That's the man who was killed. I'm afraid this is a discussion for once we've cleared the lynching question. Better not tie the forestay to the backstay on this. I hope there is something else I can help you with.
She wants to answer the question. Protocol keeps her from it.
Понятно, потом. Угу. Так, расскажу про пистолет, пофиг.
She's not even asking.
Oh.
Нет,
The
это было нет.
lieutenant looks at you, and you can swear his jaw muscle is trembling.
Unconventional police officers sometimes lose their guns. They then go around and tell people about this to gauge their reactions. It's all part of detecting.
Incredible. Simply incredible. And how is it going? Has this detecting produced a gun?
Нет.
Well, maybe he's not as helpful as you thought then. Is there anything
Ладно,
else?
ладно, предположение рухнуло. И теперь она, наверное...
Of course, Detective.
Она...
You can always drop by later should something come up. Now, what else can I do for you?
Так, расскажите о реальности.
Reality.
Просто расскажите.
No, but please. A little context. We're not in such a hurry.
До самого начала начинай.
Ah, yes. The episode. Sounds like an acute case of encephalopathy, now that I think of it.
Don't be phased, madame. He functions perfectly well. He only needs a lowdown on all of reality.
We may be here a while then. Ask away, officer. I'll help however...
All right, we're in. I know these all look good, but begin with the first, okay?
Так, так, вот это мы сразу провалим. Это может быть провалим. А где мы?
We're in Martinez, baby.
Пупсик?
A casual term of endearment popular among the 50-plus crowd. It's a disco holiday, but pay it no heed.
Понятно.
Aren't we all?
Капельки ностальгии и олдскульности, судя по всему.
She refers to your corresponding ages.
Martinez is a district of Revachol. A very small district tucked away near the industrial harbour, north of the 881 and Jamrock. You would be excused for not knowing about it. Unimportant, they say. Forgotten, even. Shelled to smithereens during the Revolution. It has its charms, just not this time of year.
Расскажите мне под... Блин, давайте вот эти вопросики потом. Это же сейчас тут сидеть. И мы к ней еще много раз вернемся, и шансов будет побольше. Спасибо. Ну что, попросим денег?
Voila, you're doing it.
Могли бы вы дать мне денег?
Of course. How much?
She's surprisingly nonchalant about this. Could it be that she somehow knows more about your predicament than she's
Мне
letting you?
нужно 130 реалов.
That's a good sum. Not too small, not fantastically large.
She removes a few notes and hands them to you.
Проблемы решены. Теперь можно жить в отеле и петь караоке, в караоке, 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 караоке.
Whoa, whoa. Did you see how easy that was? Ask her for more. Toot toot, train to Moneytown.
Не-не-не-не, еще не будем просить. Надо знать.
Can you eat honor? Are you an omnivore? Give me a break.
Да пошел ты.
So, I hope I didn't just bribe you, officer. It may not be technically illegal under the Emergency Act, but still.
Не, я честный полицейский.
You're right, man, that donations are permitted under the Emergency Act, unseemly as it may be, as long as they are properly logged with a prison.
Which he most certainly will do. Now, how else can I help the RCM today, besides supplementing its salaries?
Все, про реальность потом поболтаем. Фух. Это было что-то.
It's clear you like the hard stuff, Brota. Evening falls. The time has come to take the vow.
Клятву.
The vows are blood and flesh. Lower intestine. The term is metabolic and circulatory system. Fascism, Brota.
Что вообще такое фашизм?
Many things, but it's mostly about trusting your gut. Who does your gut tell you is the source of Revachol's problems?
Сейчас за фашизм меня опять забанят, и опять придется идти на YouTube. Либералы.
Yes, them. But women.
Кто?
Women. Men of Ur. You don't like them. They're insane. Their idiocy needs to be scrubbed off this world with rubbing alcohol. Wu men need to go back to the fucking kitchen.
Чё ты несешь?
That's what fascism boils down to. The rest is also important. But the main thing is that Wu men need to know their place. You're going to keep your vooz, right? Keep your vooz, Brota. There's a slow, painful growl somewhere in your intestines, knocking on your alcohol-engorged liver. It is one of betrayal and disappointment.
Да, чё за бред? Что там?
Yeah, you better keep walking. The streets will flow red once more. A great torrent rushing down Rue de Esperance. You wait and see.
The streets will not flow red with anything. Who are you?
I'm Cindy the fucking Skull. What else do you want to know? Date of birth, blood type, the last time I was tested for Hep C.
Я здесь закон.
Sod off, pig man. Art is above the law.
Искусство выше закона, согласен.
Can't you tell? I'm painting a beautiful mural, an aereo graffitio visible from low orbit.
Круто.
I haven't really started it yet. I'm waiting for the right words.
То есть ты не знаешь, что написать?
Have you ever tried your hand at graffitio? When faced with a blank wall, most people write unimaginative stuff, like pigs go home and Mona was here. We rarely see pigs round here, though. Just union cards. And my name's not Mona, so...
She wants it to be something true and total.
Yeah?
Ну да, я бы так и сказал.
Thanks. I'm sure the inspiration will come to me now that I have an official RCM stamp of approval.
Это сарказм или нет?
You've lessened her desire to deface the building. She turns her head to face the coast and nods disdainfully toward Joyce. Hatred, disgust. It's difficult to tell which of the two is more present in her girlish features.
Ненависть или отвращение испытывает почему-то.
That Azon.
The woman on the boat does not notice her staring.
On a first-name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world.
Что такое Озони? Кто такая Озони?
It's where they grow whores like her, and their whoremen.
Откуда столько негатива?
Have you got a crush on her? Aching for an opportunity to defend her honor.
А можно другие варианты ответа?
That is on her. Someone's got to keep an eye
The woman.
on a first name basis with her, are we? Piggy's moving up in the world.
Да мне она тоже не нравится.
Pig's not half as dumb as he looks.
Ладно, понятно. Не имеет значения.
I ain't no snitch, Pigstein. Go forth and forage in someone else.
Ой, да.
Actually, there is a shortage of people who talk to us in a normal, calm, informative manner.
We weren't put on this earth to make your life pleasant, fucko. What do I care about some fucking tin eggshells? Ugh, alright, sad piggy. I'll give you this one. I saw a little girl in the fishing village running around with military-grade handwear. Looked cute as hell. If you haven't been there, the village is a shithole down the coast from the main plaza. Have a good time! No. That's all the snitching Cindy the Skull does for today. Actually, I don't even know why I told you what I just told you. I have a weakness for animals. It's the animal thing again. Damn it.
Or a weakness for police officers, miss. Thank you either way.
Ну ладно.
Watch your back, Ungulate. You've got eyes on you.
Это типа вот эту, да, красочку разливает, да? Красочку тут разливайте. Так, тихо, куда пошел? Куда ты пошел? Тут что? Тут, видимо, какое-то граффити было, но его теперь нет. Ага. Ой, так это же мелкая. Эй, мелкая!
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my
Logic error. She is not sleeping right now.
Pig's come to take me out. Trying to snuff me out.
Да ты сейчас спишь?
Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
Поговорили, да, типа все?
Trying to sneak up.
Понятно. Дальше туда не пойду, там, ну или пойду. Время так-то 20:33 у нас. Скоро конец дня. Так, что там я нашел? Как же жарко, боже. А что, трансляция вообще идет у нас или что? У меня какие-то баги. Так, что нашел? Что нашел? Шляпа. Риторика, ну, зато скорость реакции. Ладно. Задание. Узнать побольше реальности. Ну, потом спросить Куна. Ага. Понятно. 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 Блин, ну, с Куна поговорить. Мы пойдем к Гаррету и кинем ему в лицо его деньги. $140 3 реаля. Это же, наверное, большие деньги. О. Сейчас поговорим с Гарретом. Начнем новый день. И отдыхать. Потому что тяжело вообще. Жара просто ужасная. Хочется лечь где-нибудь на снегу. Ладно, не буду пока ложиться. Какие-то парни пришли. О-хо-хо-хо-хо! Люди, которые хотят послушать мою музыку, судя по всему. Ищут денег.
Yes. Well.
Да подавись ты.
Great, perfect. I hope you enjoy your freezing cold room with the window you broke yourself.
You've really worn down his patience. Even paying him didn't help.
By the way, if you hadn't paid before 9 p.m., your door would have been locked electronically. Starting tomorrow, please pay for each night in advance. 20 real per night. If you don't have the money, it's over for you. Got it?
Time stops advancing after 2 in the morning. If you haven't paid for your room by then, it's game over. Don't leave finding money to the last minute, however. It's harder to make cash after nightfall when the shops are closed and the streets
Не
empty.
хочу умирать.
I'll take a room here too.
Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else I can do for you?
Собака. Где мое караоке? Хочу петь в караоке. Не-не-не-не. Нельзя пока петь. Ну, я вроде песню, да, не нашел. Так. Сколько там с Кимом надо будет разговаривать?
Yes?
You pick over what's left of your frontal cortex, but no compelling explanations emerge.
Понятно, пока я не могу это выбить. Так. Сегодня надо найти. Сколько там надо поговорить с Кимом? 22:00. Ладно, пойду продам что-нибудь, фотокарточку какую-нибудь. Если уж я доживу, ноги опять. Вот так я сегодня целый день. Как раненое животное. Подбитая обезьяна. Да я не буду умирать. Умирают совсем больные люди. А я чуть-чуть больной. Вот столечко.
Hello again. How can I help you? Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling?
Продать. Продать ли платок лейтенанта? Он ему все равно не нужен, и мне вроде как не нужен. Все. 99 и 60.
I'm not purchasing any more clothing at the moment. And especially that tie. It swallows photons around it. I have no need for necrotic objects.
Некротический предмет, галстук.
Your mother is a necrotic object. I'm fun. Look at me sparking in the light of the projector.
Хочу себе галстук.
Another time, perhaps. Sure.
Что я еще могу
Anything
продать?
else you're thinking of selling?
Фотографию я не хочу продать, мне кажется, это пригодится. Типа там не личные вещи, а платок кисуроги ему не нужен, а это чья-то личная вещь, может это пригодится в будущем. Поэтому... у меня еще есть пару бутылок. Пойду сдам пару
Another
бутылок.
time, perhaps.
Пойду сдам пару бутылок. А мне нравится галстук, он забавный. И выглядит он прикольно, ну типа в стиле диск. Ладно. Кошмарный галстук. Па-па-па-па-па-па-па.
The tear machines. Your bottles clunk into the machine.
Все. Все сделал. Теперь есть на комнату. Ну тут так и нельзя зайти, да? Хотите убить время? Купите книгу. Когда читаешь, время летит. У меня там была какая-то брошюра коммунистическая, можно ее почитать.
Can I help you?
А, это типа на завтра, мне типа сегодня мне ничего не надо. Поговорить с людьми хоть что ли. С тобой нельзя, да? С вами тоже ни с кем нельзя. Мне надо время до 20.
Hello again, sweetie.
Тогда покатаемся вместе.
Whatever do you mean? Ah, yes. Probably Roll With Me by the Fletchers. People often quote the Fletchers at me. Morel says it's my theme song.
Ладно, с ней не о чем говорить. С ним тоже не о чем говорить. С кем есть говорить? С ним тоже нельзя говорить. Ты здесь
The
спишь уже?
worker is in a deep slumber. Perhaps he's on his way to where you just came from, into the primordial darkness.
Разбудить.
You gently shake his shoulder, but nothing happens. This man could probably sleep soundly in a ship's engine room.
Понятно. Что же сделать? Что же сделать, чтобы ускорить? В 22. Блин, в 22, да... Не, все, короче. Сохраняюсь. Все, жарко, я устал. Позже, может, вечером вернемся. А сейчас я пойду отдыхать, и вам того же желаю. Пока-пока.